I will die on as someone that became a wife at 21 and a mom at 22. Get married and have kids young.
She got married at the age of 21. She had her first child at the age of 22. And now she's coming to the internet to advise young women or young ladies to get married young. She's even said that she wish she got married way younger than 21. She wish she did it probably in her teenagers or her teenage years. So she's advising younger women to get married young because that's the best thing you'll ever do. If you want to get married, just do it. And people are saying, yes, since I know I already want to be a wife, let me just be a wife. Why am I waiting? I don't want to sleep around. I just want to sleep with only one man for the rest of my life. At 21. I feel like she's even too young to be giving marriage advice. Am I wrong? You guys, let me know your thoughts about this video down in the comment section. I have a reaction on this video, so let's watch this just together, and I'll see you at the end of the video.
Who I will die on as someone that became a wife at 21 and a mom at 22. Get married and have kids young. Period. Like 10 toes down on that statement. In fact, my only regret is that we didn't get married sooner. That's all. Love you. Bye.
I want to be able to check back with her in like 10, 15 years and kind of see where she's at and whether she's divorced and a single mom. And what had me more than even this video and this statement, which I completely disagree with, it's the comments in the video. It's the comments. There's literally girls in there saying like, oh, why would I need to find myself in my 20s when I already wanted to be a wife and a mom? I'm like, there's women saying like, and anybody who disagrees with this are just mad because we don't want to go party and sleep around. Like it's literally like that type of like vibe in her comment section. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh my God, like what is going on with society? Like that's crazy. I am somebody that is 150% against having children young and getting married young. And this is just due to my own lived experience, okay? My mom had me as a teen. She got married young. And all of her friends who did the same thing are all divorced, getting a divorce, or in miserable, horrible marriages that they want out of. And I will say the same for all my friends that did get married young or have children young. Almost all of them are either divorced, remarried, or no longer with the fathers of their children. It's been so interesting to watch like this new rise in like conservatism when it comes to women being mothers and stay at home. And I think it's due to like social media and a lot of things. And I'm just like, it makes me sad because I'm like, it's not about sleeping around or partying. Like it's traveling. It's getting like, you know, life experience. It's having something for yourself before you give yourself to a marriage and children. It's having a career and then maybe going in stay-at-home mom, marriage and children. It's, you know, there's a lot that goes into that. And I feel like when I've seen people who are parents, especially parents at young ages compared to, you know, when they're stable, like in their 30s and stuff, usually it's like the 30s older parents that are better parents. I'm sorry, because you have life experience. You've been through things. Your patience is different. Like, I feel like you're more ready, to be honest. Like, so there's a lot of women that's truly what they want to do. They want to get married at 21. They want to have their kids really young, and that's your decision. But when you end up divorced eventually or in a shitty marriage in your 30s, 40s, remember the women that tried to warn you about it and tried to be like, hey, you know, maybe this isn't the best choice. Maybe like go find yourself, which is not meaning sleep around. Like go find yourself. Do like things that you've always wanted to do before you know, get into the situation. Because a lot of them are bitter and resentful. Yeah. And then when they're in their like 30s, 40s, they're trying to live like 20-year-olds because they never got to live like that. It's so interesting, like the mindset. If you look in those comments, it's actually wild in those comments. And it makes me just like cringe so bad because I don't know. It's full of like misogyny. It's a lot of misogyny and it's a lot of like, you know, just young people who have no life experience that think that because you don't want to like settle down young, it's because you want to sleep around or you know, I don't know. I hate that we're moving back towards this, you know, women being at home and women like just being mothers and wives than like women being boss bitches and women having their own and women like, you know, finding themselves and women having children later. I loved that. I love the having children later. You have no business having kids in your teens, in your young 20s. Like I will always stand on that you really do have no business. You really have no business, because it frustrates me. But hey, people are gonna make their choices.
Yeah. This I will die on as someone that became a wife at 21 and a mom at 22. Get married and have kids young. Period. Like 10 toes down on that statement. In fact, my only regret is that we didn't get married sooner.
This week alone, I have seen at least 3 or 4 posts of women who have said that their husbands have just up and left them with their kids. As for divorce, they have nothing. They were stay-at-home moms. And that girl is the type of person who will come on here and be like, my husband would never. That would never happen to me. Yeah, those wives also said that maybe a day or two before. Their husbands did the same thing. My ex did it to me. In fact, that man cheated on me so many times and I still stayed, and then he still left me. Also, the Christian girl married young to the lack of ambition pipeline needs to be studied, because all of those things correlate. And I believe that comes from growing up with a mentality that God will provide. God will provide, God will do, God will heal, God will do everything. And then they just really don't know how to figure it out. These girls are getting married young and they don't know how to do anything. They don't know how to live in society. They don't know how to navigate society without having an anxiety attack, without having panic attacks. And as someone who suffers from anxiety, as someone who grew up like that, I know what I'm talking about. But the real PSA here is that I grew up like that because I was listening to what youth group was telling me at church. I was listening to what the pastors were telling me at church. Not because my parents were telling me I needed to get married desperately at home. In fact, my parents were pushing me to get an education. Luckily, I did. Because then when my ex left me and I depended on a man, I could have something to fall back on, and it's an education. So watch out for the mentality that church is giving your kids, okay? Also be sure to, at home, support them and talk to them, because my parents were not the ones making me think that getting married was the only goal in life.
Who I will die on as someone that became a wife at 21 and a mom at 22. Get married and have kids young. Period. Like 10 toes down on that statement. In fact, my only regret is that we didn't get married sooner. That's all. Love you. Bye.
And the hill that I will die on is that when women get married too young or have children too young, or they make marriage or motherhood a goal or accomplishment, that ends up becoming their only form of identity. And I know we've all seen it, right? You can see it in their bios. You can see it from all the things that they post on any form of social media, that being a wife or being a mom is the only thing they've ever had any sort of goals or ambitions or dreams of. And it's their only identity. When you are 21, whether you are a man or a woman, you have not yet discovered who you are as an individual. To get married at the age of 21 is absolutely absurd, because that is not the same person that you will be when you're 25. Most likely still won't even be the same person that you are when you're 27. When you haven't had time to discover who you are and your identity and your sense of self, which a majority of people have not done by the time they're 21, there are very few exceptions for that. When you have not discovered who you are as an individual, what your true hobbies and interests are, what your real dreams and goals and ambitions are, what your identities are, and there should be more than one, when you haven't done that and haven't given yourself enough time to do so, then when you get married or when you have children at such a young age, that becomes your only form of identity. And that's quite unfortunate in my mind, which is why I advocate against women doing this. I am happily married. I've been with my husband for coming on 9 years, and we met when we were 21 years old. I cannot fathom having married him at the age of 21. Even though I'm happily and healthily married to him now, and we've been married for over 4 years, and it's been a phenomenal relationship, and I wouldn't have married anyone else, I still would have never married him at the age of 21. What's supposed to naturally happen as you grow older and you have more experiences in life, you're supposed to mature. Your mindset's supposed to mature, your ambitions, your dreams, and your goals and your thoughts are supposed to mature. To make the assumption and to be unrealistic with the expectation that 16 years old, 17-year-olds are supposed to have the same dreams that they're supposed to have when they're 25 if they've experienced the world, it's just unrealistic. And when you create a future based on something that's not rooted in reality, it sets you up for failure. I've made 2 videos that I think are important. One, and it did go viral, and I got a lot of criticism for it, but it was the fact that I think that women should not be engaging in misandrist pink pill content, because I think there are amazing, healthy men out there that you can marry, that you can find, or that will come to you and you can marry. And it's about using your discernment and your wisdom and being okay with being with yourself and having confidence. There are some women who didn't like that. That's fine. I don't care. I will stand 10 toes down on that. I've met very healthy-minded, emotionally intelligent men who respect you, honor you, love you, and are phenomenal partners and will be until the day they die. I'm married to one. I have male friends, guy friends that are, and I have people in my family, guys who are that way. I also made another video talking about how women should prioritize friendship over romantic relationships. I think there's nuance, right? I think most things in life have nuance, and I think that we can look at it from different perspectives. I think prioritizing and setting a goal of being a mother or a wife, I think that's such a shallow goal to have for a woman. Anyone can do it. Anyone could get married. And quite literally, with the exception of individuals who are infertile, pretty much anyone could get pregnant, right? We don't need the bean soup theory, whataboutisms, I don't care. I just explicitly state it, right? There are few people who can't. But for the most part, anyone could get married and anyone could get pregnant. There's nothing special or unique about that. It's not an accomplishment, so it shouldn't be a goal. Now, if you happen to find an amazing partner that you can do life alongside, awesome. If you choose, because you both want to have children, to have children, sort of family, and it's healthy and it's great, and you plan for it, awesome, beautiful. But the reality is, when you set that as being your goal and accomplishment, to me, it's indicative of the fact that you have no other personality. You've not figured out who you are as your own person. That is your only form of identity. When you get married that young, or when you get married and have children without understanding who you are as an individual, becoming a mom or becoming a wife is your entire personality and your entire identity, and that's not how it should be. We don't give women the opportunity to really develop themselves and learn who they are in the same sense that we give those opportunities to men. Are there women who lack accountability and then they come on the internet preaching bullshit like this, that we should get married by the time we're 21 and have kids young? We shouldn't do that, okay? That's not something we should encourage, nor is it something that we should do ourselves. Figure out who you are first. Figure out who you are as an individual first before you go make your husband your entire identity. Figure out who you are first before you make your children your entire identity, because what will happen? What will happen when your children move out one day, which they're going to? You're not going to know what to do with yourself, because your only form of identity has left and it's gone. And that's why women in their 50s go through that midlife crisis and they can't let go of their children, especially their sons, right? That's a whole different conversation for a different day. But they can't let go of their children because letting go of their children is like letting go of their identity, and they have no clue who they are without their children. The same thing goes with women who make marriage their entire identity. When their husbands are gone and leave them, either via divorce, cheat on them, whatever it is, they have no sense of self. Have you ever had conversations with these types of women? All they talk about are their husbands. They can't do anything without their husbands. And they'll come on the internet and be like, oh, everybody just hates love. Like, why can't we just be in love? Like, why can't I just always want to be me or my husband? Because there's a level of codependency that becomes very unhealthy. Codependency in and of itself is quite unhealthy, inherently speaking, but then when you go and advance it and then try to make all these justifications, anytime anyone gives you valid criticism on it, it becomes an even bigger issue because you've been blinded to your codependency problems. But these are women that I personally can't be friends with, because I need to be friends with women who have their own identity outside of their husbands and outside of their kids. You should want to be more than just a mom. You should want to be more than just a wife in life. Like, you should have more ambitions and goals besides just that. It's okay to love your husbands. I love mine very deeply, but it's not okay to make him your entire personality and identity, because not only is it bad for you, but it's bad for him. It puts a burden onto him. When I hear women say, oh, he's my only friend, you're burdening him. Because guess what? We as social creatures were designed to share our emotions with not just one individual who's supposed to bear the weight of all of that. You're supposed to have family and friends that you can rely on as well. It's quite selfish in my eyes, and honestly, I think it's a character defect and character flaw. I think we need to stop encouraging women to set marriage or children as a goal or even an accomplishment, because if everyone can do it, that's not an accomplishment. Not everyone can do it good, and not everyone can do it right, and that's more of an accomplishment. And guess what? To do it good and to do it right is going to take time for you to figure out who you are as an individual, to work through whatever issues you have, to start strengthening your flaws, to sharpen your strengths, and to figure out what you want in life. And you cannot do that by the time you're 21. That is very seldom and very rare.
First, I want to say the only hill that I'm literally going to die on is Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. Can I get an amen? I made a video trying to share my positive experience as a young wife and mother. And while 99.9% of the people that originally saw it understood what I was saying, and I had a lot of people that had positive experiences in the comments as well, there was 0.1% that took it a different way. And watching back, I understand why they did, and it was not my intention to come off that way. Then a person commenting on my video made her own video, which then got on a totally different side of TikTok, which then led a surge of people not only harassing me, but a bunch of other women in the comments, which then led to me taking my post down because it was supposed to be a positive space and it turned really negative. So I'm not going to tolerate that. I definitely do not think that all people should get married young and have children young. Not only from my personal background and experiences, but even the jobs that I've had in my adult life. Even more so, as a Christian, I know that the Lord places different passions and callings on people's hearts. We want people that have a passion for teaching and a passion for children to be in the education system. If you have a passion and a calling for finding justice, then you should be in the courtroom. You could have a calling and desire on your heart to become a mother. If you don't want to get married and you don't want to have children, by all means, don't do that. Life in your 20s was referenced a lot. If you want to go travel in your 20s, do it. If you want to further your education, do it. But if you want to get married, you can do that too. And if you want to have children, you can also do that. For all the people saying you're practically bound for divorce if you get married in your 20s, as a child of divorce, I know that myself and that man that I married will not be the same in 10 years, 20 years, shoot, even 5. We're growing and changing every day. Just as we are not the same 10-year-olds that the other one met and the 16-year-olds we dated in high school. Marriage is not for the uncommitted. I feel that there is an unfortunate misconception that once you get married and have children that your life is over. I just wanted to show, as someone that wants to be a wife and wants to be a mother, that's not the case. It may feel that way if you don't want to be either of those things. And once again, if you knew me at all and knew my background, you would know that I know that raising a kids, takes a lot and lots of self-sacrifice. But I was fully prepared to make sacrifices when becoming a mother. For all of you saying that I don't know that, can talk to the bubble blisters I used to have on my nipples as I continue to breastfeed my son because I knew that's what was best for him. I know that when I had a kid that I wasn't just having a baby and I wasn't even just raising a child from 0 to 18 and never seeing them again. You do you, boo. I'ma do me. But I love being a wife and a mother, and I can't wait to have more children with my best friend. Okay. The world takes all kinds of kinds and would be so incredibly boring if we were all the same. Why don't we not only embrace each other's differences, but celebrate them? And remember that in a world that's so cruel and expensive, it is absolutely free to be kind. Love y'all, bye.
As I said earlier, you are not eligible to give marriage advice because you are still young in that marriage. And I feel like you've not even experienced the marriage. It starts with practically 2 years in the marriage. So you can't give marriage advice and start telling people to get married young. You can't. And the fact that some people feel like they need to get married when they are in their 20s or once they're in their early 20s, they feel like that is the best time to get married. Personally, for me, that is the wrongest time to get married because as at that time, you don't even know who you are. I feel like that is the best time for men to mold you to the kind of woman they want you to be. And they will do that because at a point, certain in the years, certain in your 20s, that is when you start understanding the kind of life that you want for yourself. And it's too late for you because you're already married with so many children. In your 20s, you're supposed to focus on something different, especially focus on yourself. Try to get to know who you are. Enjoy life. I feel like in your 20s, that is when you're supposed to enjoy life. That is not when you're supposed to lock yourself in the house with a man and children. That's not when you're supposed to make yourself a mother, in my own opinion. So if you're doing that in your early 20s and it has worked for you, does not mean that that is a good thing for you to advise other people to do. Because we've seen a lot of women that got married early, way early, and they've come back to tell us that don't do it. A lot of marriages have been dissolved because they got married early. Most of the time because they got married early, because they don't even know who they are to start with, and a lot of things changed about them, and they realize that they don't even like the man that they are even married to. Or probably they had children way too early. Some might even get married and not have children way too early. Some might do it and have children later on in their 20s. But some of these women that get married very early, they tend to start having children back to back. You see them even before they clock 23, they already have 3 children. That is so much for you as 23. Because you don't even have any other identity aside from you saying, I am a wife and I'm a mother. For me, you don't have any other identity. Some people say that you can still get married and still enjoy your life, travel around the world and all of that. You can't compare traveling around the world in your 20s, early 20s, without a husband and children, and compare a woman that goes and travel around the world with husband and children. You can't. You can't. I feel like in your 20s, that is when you're supposed to enjoy life and know yourself, know what you want. Because I feel like at that point, You've not even fully matured. You've not even fully matured. That exactly, you don't even know what you want in life at that age. I feel like it's later on in the years you start understanding that, oh, I think this is what I actually want. I think this kind of, in fact, people in their 30s are still figuring out what they want in life. So you in your early 20s locking yourself and having that mindset of marriage is a commitment, I have to be there for a very long time or for life, is a very wrong choice, in my own opinion. But since she says she's happy and all of that, I'm happy for her. The first creator that said, let her come back in the next 10 years and give her the same advice. Yeah. Most of the time, I feel like it's too early for you to start showing it because we've seen so many videos, we've seen so many women go through the same thing. They were so happy, they thought that was the best decision ever until later in the years they got very overwhelmed and they wish they never did it. They wish they never. I feel like it's too early, in my own opinion. I feel like it's too early for her to give that advice. Probably when you've done it after like 15, 20 years, come and give advice and say the best thing to do is to marry early. Because most of the time, once you're even in your fifth, 6 years, or let's just say 10 years, you are even wishing you never even did that early enough. You wish you even focus on something else. And it's not even all about sleeping around. When people say don't get married early, people are not telling you to sleep around. People are not telling you to go clubbing or live a wayward life. People are not saying that. People are saying get to know yourself, get to know what you want in life, focus on something else, have another identity aside from you being under the roof of a man. And, it's like you moving from your parents' house to husband's house. You've not even actually lived by yourself and know what you want. Like, I just feel like there's more to life than you being a wife and being a mother. The way they just actually painted that thing as if that is the only achievement you can do as a woman. So if you don't do it, even if you have every other thing and you don't have a man in your life or you don't have children, people feel like you've not accomplished anything. And that is false. So most of the time, once these young girls get married very early, that is the only thing. The conversations around them, if you hang out with any of these women, and have conversations with them, all they talk about is my husband, my children. They don't have any other thing in life to talk about. They don't have any other achievement. They don't have any other thing to talk about or to reason with you because all their lives is just my husband, my children, my husband, my children. And there's more to life to that than, hooking yourself in a relation, in a marriage at that early age. Nobody say you don't get married. If you've always wanted to be a mom, you've always wanted to be a wife, somebody's wife, you can do that when you are self-aware of what you are going into. At that age, I feel like there's nothing. You're too young to even be self-aware to know what you're doing, in my own opinion. Anyway, you guys, what is your take on this video? Can you share your thoughts about this video down in the comment section, respectfully, as always. I have cold, so my voice is kind of anyway, you guys, can you share your thoughts about this video down in the comment section, respectfully, as always. Your girl Mary David, and thank you so much for tuning in today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Please like and share and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one, guys. Bye.